about the four sons inside of us. So let me just read over quickly the beginning. I've got a Haggadah in front of me. Keneged arba banim dibrat Torah. So as Meir pointed out, let's not be confused. Banim is not specifically males. It's children in general. Keneged arba banim dibrat Torah. The Torah is talking to four children. And then it goes and brings these four children and the different psukim that the Torah is referencing them with, and what they ask and what we answer them. So the first thing to point out is that we have many voices inside of us, many places inside of us. One day I'm feeling in one area, I'm at a certain level of development. At a different area, I'm differently. In some areas, I'm proactive and empowered. In other areas, I'm undiscovered. I'm shut down. In some areas, I'm confident. In some areas, I'm timid. We have different strengths, balances. Going through Kabbalah, we have the Sfirot, so different midot within us that are different midot in Hashem. Going through Mesilat Yesharim, there's different traits and different stages and development that we're going through. And it's a very, very complex system. So that's really not what we're talking about. But I wanted to give a little bit of an understanding that there are different voices inside of us. And we can understand the four children as different places inside our psyche, inside our soul, inside our body. And in different areas of ourselves, we're in the development of those different children. Each child has certain strengths, certain beautiful traits, certain difficulties. Each child is a different experience. You can really see it as if you're looking at an actual child. I don't know if Meir has children or your young children or Shmuel Bezot, Baruch Hashem. Shmuel one Baruch Hashem. And anyone else who's listening, when you look at your children, you can see each one is their own world. Each voice inside you is its own world. And each voice inside you, just as in the Sfirot, you can have the Sfira of Netzach, but within Netzach, you can have, all the other Eser Sfirot, all the other 10 Sfirot within Netzach. So Netzach is an entire world. And Netzach exists within every other Sfira. It's an infinite fractal. There's each detail, each voice is a world to itself. And even though your children come from you and your wife, they're totally separate worlds where inside them is an Abba and Ima. They're entirely they're microcosm themselves. But this is a chidush. A lot of this I got from my teacher, Rabbi Svirsky, and some of it I'm refreshing for myself. But a chidush that came to me last night is that there's four banim. The unspoken, not the unspoken son, the voice that it doesn't mention is the Abba. Arba banim, and one Abba. And who's the Abba? The Abba is you. In fact, it tells you that. It infers it over there, but then later it tells you, this is what this child says, and what do you tell him? Who are you? Whoa, it's like when you're in a play and the actor speaks to the crowd. Telling us there are four banim. Okay, now that's very removed. That's abstract. Four banim. What should you tell them? Whoa. So they're your children, and you're the father. And the children are in you. And the truth is, if we don't give voice to these children, we can't really see our own children, because there's parts of these children in them. And if we're not giving them voice inside us, we can't give that voice space for others. So these are not absolutes, but this is my take this year on these 4 children and the relationship with the Abba. Okay, so and let me just also point out the difference between the distinction between liberate and free. The words might be a little arbitrary in English, but there is a meaning we can distinguish. Liberate has, they did, I don't remember, this was a while ago I read it, but they were doing a study with, I think it might have been Native Americans or some other indigenous culture. And, they had them in the study was that they didn't know they were in the study. It was a blind study. And, they were in like a doctor's office type of thing. And they offered them drinks, what kind of soft drink, what kind of drink would you like? Coca-Cola, Sprite, Fanta, they give them like 5 options and that was the actual study. They thought that was just, just getting a drink in the waiting room waiting for the, later on, they asked them what they thought of their choice, their options. They said, what options? What options? It was all sugar water, I don't remember what they said, but it was all soft drink. It was all soda. We put fake meaning into the difference between Coke and Sprite and Fanta, 7-Up, Dr. Pepper, Snapple. We put meaning on these things. Really, there's no choice there. It's all the same thing. So liberation could have a meaning of options, meaningless options, right? We use the word, we're free, land of the free, right? So in this sense, the land of the free, is there a meaningful option? Or is it you're free to choose between a million different meaningless options? That's not free. Free is you have meaningful choices. And that's what maybe we'll open up in ourselves, is the ability to make meaningful choices by becoming aware of who we are, aware of what we want, aware of what's important, because meaning is always you. It's always me. Meaning. It's always me. Got to be meaningful for me right here, right now. So the Chacham, let's talk about the Chacham. The Haggadah reads, Chacham mahu omer. What does the Chacham say? Ma ha'edut v'achukim v'amishpatim asher tziva Adonai Eloheinu etchem. What are these testimonies and laws and rules that Hashem has commanded? Hashem, our God, has commanded you. V'af ata emor lo, and you should tell him the laws of the Pesach. Ein maftirin achar Pesach afikomen. We don't eat after the Pesach. We don't eat more Pesach after the afikomen. So, give voice to the Chacham in you. What is the Chacham? The Chacham is our positive efforts to win at life. This is just how it seems to me. The Chacham is those things we do in order to do good. We want to do good. We want to do the right thing. However, it's disconnected from the heart. He's not being good, he's doing good. His feeling is, his low feeling is loneliness and separation. His positive is independence. He's looking to accomplish, he's looking to make people proud, he's looking to win friends, make his Abba happy, but he's not connected to his heart, to his being self, to his felt sense. What does the Abba tell him? The laws of the Pesach in a gentle way. The Abba is encouraging this part in us. And remember, we are the Abba. Yes, Shmuel?
Oh, I was just gonna. Since all right, whatever. I was asking, is this the task killer? Is this like the boom, 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 like got like a
It could
to-do
be.
list? But
It could be. I wouldn't limit it to that. But I think it's the part in us in any way that's trying to win, because in the end, it's because of fear. In the end, in the root of it, fear. And that's why in his low, he's lonely and separate, because at his essence, he's disconnected. But he is doing the right things. Yeah, he's doing the right things. He wants to do good in order to be good, but that doesn't work for him. The Abba encourages his positive actions and brings him from wanting to do good to seeing how he is good. So awakening the Abba, we are the Abba. The Abba in us is telling those places in ourselves that Chacham, the wise voice in us that is alone and separate, that it's really good, and encouraging all that it does, which brings it back to the heart. The second son is the Rasha. The Rasha, the evil son. The Rasha is running and hiding. It's very similar to the Chacham, but he's going the other way. The Chacham is running from separation and fear to do good. The Rasha is running to hide. He's running away. The low feelings of the Rasha are anger and uncontrolled passion. The positive of the Rasha, which is a big positive, in a way the Rasha is a development of the Chacham. Sort of. The positive of the Rasha is a deep integrity, or a desire for integrity. The Rasha sees himself as disconnected like the tzaddik. He feels the loss, and he's not going to fake it. He cannot go on like that. So he runs. He doesn't know what to do or where to go, but he runs and hides because he doesn't want to live as a fake person. The Abba gives the Rasha direction, allows him to be with his desire to be real and authentic and true, but gives him gentle, or not so gentle, but certain
Mida connected
direction.
Mida. So maybe it's the level that he's giving off, maybe?
Yes, he's not giving the Rasha direction. The Chacham, he's giving encouragement to bring him to his heart. The Rasha, he's giving him direction so that his passion brings him back to if the Rasha is running, maybe he'll bump into himself at some point, in a sense. So the Abba directs him.
He's searching for Avada.
What?
He's
What did you say,
searching
Mayor?
for his Avada. He's searching for his soul.
He's searching for his
Again.
soul. So the
But
Abba,
he cannot do that with his brain. He has to do it with his heart. And that's the
yeah,
point.
yeah.
So if you're starting
And the
from your heart,
Rasha, yeah. The same with the Chacham. The Rasha is a little bit more in touch with the disconnection. The Rasha, we're redirecting its passion. The Rasha is saying, I can't go on disconnected. So if you can, you redirect it in any way in order to show it that it was never really disconnected, or that it has the ability to write everything.
So far we've got the Chacham was never worthless, was always had worth, and the Rasha was always connected, but doesn't see that as well.
Nice. Yeah.
yeah,
The Tam,
because
yeah,
he's
Mayor?
missing his awareness of the elements of awareness. That is his problem. And that is why
The
he
Rasha?
keeps searching and running. But he will find it in himself much easier than running around.
Yeah. 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 So the Tam Mahu Omer, Mazot. The Tam says, what is this? And you tell him with a strong hand, Hashem, our God, Hashem took us out of Egypt from the house of slavery. The Tam is the heart center. The Tam is being present, flowing, presence, purpose. In its negative, it's complacency. It's in its negative, it's unmotivated, which is false, because if it was really connected to itself, it would not be. If it was truly in touch with its heart, it would not be. The Abba connects the Tam in a sense to the Chacham. He connects the Tam to direction. He gives the Tam meaning. The Tam, really, he's perfectly ready for meaning. He just needs to be given a little bit of direction, and he's already there. So if you have a little bit of the Abba saying, this is what, this is Pesach, the Tam's already there. You're taking the Tam who's present and flow and being, and you're giving him passion. And the Tam is very open to that. So listening to the voice of the Tam is the voice in you that's really ready to move. Not because it needs to, out of fear or out of compulsion, just because it's like it's healed. It's the part in you that has come into being, has come into presence. It's the potential in you that's ready to be accessed. And the job of the Abba, of you, is to give it a little bit of push. Go and use that energy to learn. Use that energy to do a mitzvah. Use that energy to develop something, to create. Yes, Shmuel? Question?
Oh, you just defined what moving meant. What do you mean by getting him to move? But like in any direction, it sounds.
Yeah. The Tam opening up, the Tam developing is what we saw, is really that's the completion. It's the mind and the heart together. See, the Tam is you've got the heart, now you're giving it a little mind. The Aino Yodea Lishol, the last one. She'eino Yodea Lishol, at petach lo. The Aino Yodea Lishol, the one who does not know how to ask, you open for him. You lead him. Shenemar v'yigarat levincha bayom hahu lemo ba'avor zeh asa Adonai li b'tziti Mitzrayim. As it says, tell your children on that day that because of this, Hashem did to me, taking me out of Egypt. This one is very fascinating. The Aino Yodea Lishol is the first one where the pasuk says, tell your children. The Aino Yodea Lishol is the archetype of Abba, child. Because what is the archetype of Abba, child? The Abba knows and the child doesn't know. I mean, like, we see the Aino Yodea Lishol as so negative. I'm just a kid. What am I supposed to know? That's the perfect example of Abba, child. That's it. Abba, child is the Aino Yodea Lishol. The child is totally undeveloped. So what is the Aino Yodea Lishol? Totally undeveloped, totally untapped, totally raw. It could be that it's also like in trauma, it's the frozen space, the frozen energy, but it's definitely totally unavailable potential. It's
What did you mean by the trauma frozen space?
After trauma, what's stopping a lot of people from developing is certain fears and difficult things they went through, and that's what happens in trauma. It's a low-level trauma. What happens in trauma is that you freeze that around whatever was coming up then. So if there was a trauma around being wanted or acceptable, so then later on in life they might have things stopping them in those areas because that's froze up. But not for now. The Aino Yodea Lishol, if we're talking about positive running aways like the Chacham and negative running aways like the Rasha, and the Tam is the being. So the Aino Yodea Lishol is the unknown of our life. It's the lens that we see life through. You see, you don't realize that you're wearing a lens. You're wearing glasses, even if you're wearing glasses, you're still wearing glasses. You're seeing the world not as the world is, but as you are, as someone famous said. You're seeing the world through the lens that you look at it from. And you can't see that lens. You can peel it away a little bit at a time, but there will always be a lens. There will always be. The truth is that the world is, you are a creator of your own reality. And if your life or your experience of life is a certain way, you chose it entirely. There's a level in your consciousness, which is you don't see because it's part of your lens, where if you stubbed your toe, that was your choice. You thought that would be the best thing to do right then. Now, you don't understand right now why, because it's part of your lens. If your friends are lame, you chose that. If you're broke, chas v'shalom, you chose that, right? If you're out of shape, you chose that. It's all part of your lens. You're an infinitely
That's a difficult
complex,
thing to accept, but once it accepted,
it's
more
a
peace.
hugely difficult thing to accept. That's why the Aino Yodea Lishol is so massively powerful. But that's the truth. And the Aino Yodea Lishol is that archetype of the father-son. The son, the child, is complete untapped potential. No matter how much you look, you'll find more incredible things. You'll never run out. There's always more to develop. You can look at a child for hours and never cease to be amazed. I think the low feeling, the low experience of an Yodea Lishol is terror. Terror meaning just a complete overtaking fright that does not allow you to move at all and makes you freeze. That's the low level experience, I think, of the Yodea Lishol. High level is complete, massive, infinite, untapped potential. So as the Abba, this is the place where we, like I said, really step into being the Abba. And what we do is we awaken with love and acceptance, little by little. We lead. We show through example. We awaken ourselves, fully accepting. If the Yodea Lishol comes to do a mistake or does something that they shouldn't, never saying like bad boy, meaning not allowing any misunderstanding between acceptance and approval. No matter what happens, I will always accept and love you. And if you do something not permitted or not approved of, I don't approve of that, but I will always love and accept, the always listening ear, the loving heart. And that's what we need to, this is where it gets trippy, as ourselves, the Abba, to our Yodea Lishol son, inside ourselves, the way you show them this love and acceptance and lead them to blossom is by doing it for yourself. So the way to do it to yourself is by doing it to yourself.
So that's
You
meaning
need to
the 4 children are the mirror of your person.
say that again.
So the definition is then for the 4 children of the 4 sons, who you call it, doesn't matter. But the 4 children are a mirror for the Abba.
Yes,
because he
and
can see his own
especially,
reflection in them.
yeah, and especially the Yodea Lishol. And this is really the closing point. Well, first of all, we're invited to continue to explore these areas in ourselves and come up with new meaning to them. But I love that the way the Yodea Lishol, the way that you open up, because untapped potential, how do you take that from untapped to tapped? How do you blossom? It's like creating a world. It's like going from ayin to yesh. It's going from nothing to something. This is where you are the most your creator.
Awareness.
This is where you potentialize your creative power, your co-creative power with God in the world. And it doesn't happen. There's no linear growth to this. It's not, I'll do a little bit today and a little bit tomorrow and it'll happen by itself. To this Yodea Lishol, to a developing potential, to opening up new areas of yourself. The only way to do it is to make a quantum leap, to make a jump. And that comes by knowing that there is an untapped potential. This could be a workshop in itself. Knowing that there is untapped potential and choosing to develop that potential, and then saying, until now,